Firstly, hello guys. How are you? I just wanted to talk today about, obviously, in the last video I broke down, obviously, the university owned, the purpose-built student accommodation sector, the letting agents, and the landlords. So the differences between those. And today I just wanted to pick on one topic and then take it from there. Today I want to talk about the purpose-built student accommodation sector, which is PBSA. You might see that phrase or those letters branded about, and they are confusing when you don't really know what it means. PBSA, purpose-built student accommodation, means that it's purposely built for students. So in that block you can guarantee everyone in there is a student, and they are registered at the university or they are on placement. So for instance, by placements I mean they could be a local hospital and they need a placement or a place close by. These purpose-built student accommodations usually have in them a gym, a cinema room, a games room, a study room. Depending on how high-end they go, they might go grab-and-go breakfast. They're usually key fob entry or access. You have your own lock on your own room. And they are normally filled with studios, flats and apartments, or 2 beds. They don't really go into much, or they don't go much higher than 5 beds roughly on an average. There will be some exceptions to the cause, but however most of them are studios, 2 beds and flats and apartments, and they're all purpose built for students, as I say, and most of the time all the rooms will have an ensuite, which is what makes them attractive to students. And I completely understand this in the fact that if you're a student, you don't really want to share a bathroom with someone. Obviously, if you live in a house, you get less choice. And a house, sometimes you physically can't build an ensuite into every room. And sometimes the plumbing can't deal with that amount of water, everyone having a shower at once, basically. So PBSA, it's normally built, and there are quite a few big companies that do it. They are companies that make and develop these buildings. They are usually backed by investment firms. They are people putting money into pots for them allowed to build it, and the people that put money in obviously want a return from that, and that's how they manage to build it. The PBSA stuff is usually managed by an accommodation manager, and they have an assistant accommodation manager. Their job is to make your time as easy and as promising as everything. Sorry, I've just got to wipe my nose. So back to it. The accommodation manager it's their job to make your stay as easy, as positive, as happy, as memorable, as inspiring as possible. They want to make your life great. And I think this is the perfect thing, because at university, if you've got any questions, you can talk to them. You know, they'll put events on weekly. You know, they'll have discounts with certain providers possibly. You know, they can host a games night in the games room. They can put on movie nights, and it's their job to make you feel at home. And they can do that, and they're employed to do that. With the PBSA, they are normally located around the university, so within hopefully a 5-10 minute walk of the university or a campus. They don't really do the small stuff. They like to try and build up and create as many beds. It's just more efficient for them. And once they've got that going and they filled it, they will then probably look at another location if they can. When you're wanting to move in, and if you want a studio, a PBSA is a good place to look, because you know the kind of service you'll get. You'll be able to identify what their brand is like, and you can look how good their studios are online. A lot of them have really good websites. They have good marketing. It's something that they're good at. They look at it, they want to promote themselves, they will do that. Whereas a letting agent might not have the money that a PBSA provider has. You know, so it won't be able to put as much into its resources. Plus, you know, for a letting agent, they have to take a picture of every house, whereas PBSA can take up a few studios, and that's their apartment type. And that's quickly flicking onto that. That's what they normally have. So each PBSA will have types of rooms. So you might have a gold, bronze, silver studio. They might have a standard, classic, deluxe, penthouse. You know, it's each provider has its own range and own brand. I would say before you book one, I would definitely go around and look at it. I would definitely get yourself in the studio if you can. They do viewings, they do have open days. Please be mindful that there is likely to be someone living there, but have a look around it. Always speak to the accommodation manager as well, because they're the person, or that is the person or people who are going to be looking after you for the amount of years you're there. So first, second, and third year, or just second and third year. A lot of international students live in these PBSAs, and that's purely because when we go sort of further east, and it can be Asia, it could be Dubai, or Middle East rather, those sort of areas, this type of accommodation is more normal, more of the norm, if that makes sense. So in England, we have high-rise blocks, but in these other types of places, there's a load more of them. There's lots more of them. They're called condominiums, condos, and they're widely used out there, whereas we're just sort of getting to the grasp with it. So we might find a lot of international students in there. Rents in the PBSA are slightly higher than housing. That's purely because obviously you have an accommodation manager, you have a games room, you have a cinema room, you have a gym. You can have all these extra bits, whereas a house will likely have your bedroom, a kitchen, a living room, and possibly a dining room. Yeah, it's part of the course. That's why it's cheaper in a house. You'll be in a community, but that's for a different video. In the PBSA, it's likely to have all bills included. You'll probably have, I would always check, but likely insurance with it, because obviously they'll insure the building and its contents, and that content is you, the student. And other than that, it's just about deciding what studio, apartment, or sort of flat or apartment you want. So I lost my track there. Back with it. To decide which one's right for you, go and have a look round. If you can't and you're overseas or you're an international, have a look. See if you can do a virtual walkthrough. Always talk to the accommodation manager. The accommodation manager usually manages the social media. Great way to get in contact with them, chat with them. You can call them. They'll have a number. See what they're like. You can probably have a chat to other residents and see whether they like it. Obviously, there'll always be reviews, so look at the reviews and also go on their website. And I don't mean the specific accommodation website, I mean the big website, the big corporate website. Have a look on there and you'll get a feel for the place. You'll get a feel for the type of people they'll employ to look after you and the type of rooms they're creating and why they're creating those rooms. And then you can see if that fits and aligns with you. Obviously, it will tell you how far and close and is to university, the perks of it, what they offer, and you can then start to compare that as well. But if you get any questions, let me know, drop me a message, and I'll respond to you.